Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blitz Growth. Super exciting episode. Today, we're going to drop a lot of value for all of you out there trying to start brands, trying to work with brands as an influencer, and how to scale them. Today, I've got Jure. He's founder of a number of marketing agencies, actually, not just one. He started wescale, which is his most recent one, which has been very successful working with boutique brands. He's helped multiple brands within that agency scale to 7+ figures a month in revenue. And today, we're going to go over how to launch those products, how to scale them, how to work with influencers. We're also going to go over some attribution stuff in Facebook if we have some time. So, Jure, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, John, for the invite, and looking forward to chat with you.
Nice. So I always love starting off the interview with a bit of an elevator pitch from the guest. So in like 1 to 2 sentences, how do you introduce yourself to clients, people you're meeting at events, or how do you kind of like wrap up your entire value in 1 to 2 sentences?
So great question. So I believe in 2 sentences. The first one would be that I'm a performance marketing addict. In the game for 7 years, and I just love being the disruptor on the market.
Nice. And the other question I love to learn about everybody who comes on, how did you make your first $1,000 online?
Oh, yeah, a great one. So it was actually helping a local Kickstarter project. So they actually did like this electric self-inflating soup. So they went to Kickstarter and actually run ads for them. So back then I didn't have a idea on how to actually run it. So I learned about them, but this was actually the first practical case that I did. It was in 2014, I believe. And it was an exciting project. So they actually they found it like 350K, something like that. So it was a huge success. And this was actually the main success. The first success that I have also led to a lot of other clients that I work in the future. But this is the first one. And I actually got introduced to them by my sister.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so a question on that one. Wait, you said, what sort of soup was it?
Self-inflating electric soup.
Wow. I have no idea what that is. We'll have to find that project and link to it in the show notes. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Briefly before this interview, we talked about the involvement of influencers and brands. So I want to dive into a little bit here. How do you see brands and influencers working together successfully? And then what are some tools that influencers or brands should be using? Because I know it's like a gray area and it works really, really well, influencer marketing for some brands, and then it's an absolute bomb for other brands. So what's your experience with it?
Yeah, so to tell the truth, we only have success. It's either how big of a success it is, because I believe like if the brand is going to the social media approach, they need a lot of content. And who's better to actually produce the content than the influencers? Because these are like people that are native to the platform, and people want to actually see the native content and how they actually can integrate together. So it's regarding the quality on the how native the content can be. It's also like not only on the content creation side, but you have like paid per post collaborations, you have whitelisting of the influencers. So there's many ways how people can actually integrate. So how influencers can integrate with businesses. So I actually started using this combination of influencers and business. I think it was 4 years ago, something like that. Because back then I always have the problem of, okay, so we're organizing a shooting, we get some content, then we create like 200 iterations, but there's not this huge diversity. And we always had like a problem of content not being native enough. So we actually started working with influencers. First it was paid posts. So influencers either just posting with the promo code, reach out to the brand, send them to the profile or the website. And then we realized, okay, I actually talked to one customer, with an influencer, and I said, okay, we got these 2 photos, they're really amazing, but how many photos did you actually make to actually send us these 2 photos? And she told me like, yeah, I did, I don't know, 80 photos. And
Wow.
what did you do with the rest of them? Then I asked, and she told me I deleted them. And me, from my advertising knowledge, was like, why? Can I buy them and use them for the ads? So she was like, yeah, sure, I'll send it to you. And
Wow.
then we actually did like many iterations out of that and saw the potential there. So we actually have right now, we have a dedicated team that works with content creators. So these are influencers that send us the content that we do on the website, ads. Mostly it's for the advertising purposes. Part of it is for the whitelisting and the paid per post. So I see many potentials regarding that, not only on the Instagram side, it's the first thing popping to mind, but also on the YouTube side, on the TikTok side, there's many opportunities for influencers. And so for many brands, there's like, they're building like this long part relationship with the influencers. So I believe it's actually the future. So on one end, you have this mass reach out to micro influencers, and then on the other side, you have like building this relationship with the influencers. So influencers actually become like a part of the team. So they get the feedback on what's working, what's not working, briefing about the product, what kind of creatives are actually working. So I believe really the future of this is like brands integrated with influencers together, so they can actually create like this really good social media presence on the sales side and also on the branding side.
Got it. And then that's an interesting question. So when you are working with these influencers,
Yeah.
what is the usual structure that you guys have with them? You obviously doing the outreach to these micro influencers.
Yeah.
You may be finding a few influencers. You're like, hey, they match our criteria. And then what happens there? Like, do you send them stuff? Do you pay them? What's the usual structure in, using influencers in your marketing campaigns?
Yeah. So we actually have like the structure of having like on the one end, we have like the paid posts, and on the paid post side, we have part of it is always micro influencers. So either for free product for like 50, 100, 200 payment per post. So this is like on the micro influencer side. Then we are actually targeting for a little bit bigger ones. Depending on the country, what's the benchmark, because in some markets it might be that the benchmark is 50K, on some markets it's 100K, on some markets it's 15K. So that part, and then later down the road we also aim for the bigger ones. And what happened in reality is that on the profitability side, in a lot of cases, like micro influencers outperform the bigger ones. So that's actually the reality, but you need either a really strong process regarding the reach out plus using a tool. So on our end, we use like Influee. So Influee is the app that we use for the content creation and collaboration with micro influencers. So they really have this amazing feature of you can open up a campaign and actually influencers apply to your campaign. And then you actually decide who you want to work with. You can do some negotiation inside the platform. And the other amazing part that they have is that you can actually order content. So you said, okay, I need 50 pieces of content. This is the budget. And then they reach out and deliver the content to you. So that's why we leverage it a lot. It's like the extended arm of the team. So we can actually collaborate more on that side. So this is the part of the campaign, and part of the campaign is the content creation side, where we actually try to aim for micro influencers or mid influencers actually transform to content creators, and we have like a deal with them on the monthly basis how many pieces of content we need from them. So we sign a longer contract with them ongoing. So on our end is also a dedication that we will give them feedback, try to actually come up with ideas together with them to come with more and more and better content month by month.
Yeah, it's interesting. So brand photo shoots are really just getting replaced with influencer relationships, and they're doing all of the content creation, and then the brands are just essentially, hopefully, having them on monthly retainers to continually produce content for them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's also cost effective for the brand, because some of the photo shoot setups are super expensive. So, the organic looking stuff is a lot more cost effective. I would say some brands are probably still needing professional photo shoots for their product shots.
Yeah, that's why I actually wanted to add.
It's
not that it's only one or the other. I think test both and see what works for you. It's super important to actually have the system in place to understand what's working on you on the creative side, because with many brands, either if I consulted or work with, they didn't have like the proper naming structure or the system behind to understand what's working, what's not working. So it's test both and keep testing both. It's just about how the budget for the content creation is actually distributed.
Got it. Okay. So to recap that, it's kind of like, do the outreach to micro, medium, and large influencers. Try and get them to agree to the scope of work you have and the price you want to pay per post or a monthly retainer. Then use all of that content in your organic and paid advertising pretty much. That's kind of like that influencer marketing process for content that you follow. Is that right?
Yeah. Plus, then try to transform them into content creators. And if you are not doing whitelisting, so this is basically running ads from Instagram influencer profile. This is also a super effective tactic, not only for the businesses, but it's also good for the influencers because they reach like a huge amount of new people. They grow their following. Plus, they can actually negotiate on being paid for, let's say, a percentage of ad spend or something like that. So I believe this is also like the future of influencers integrating with the brand. So they not only brand talk about like their product, but also like influencer content can be actually promoted from their profile talking about the brand. It needs to be a brand that you trust and you believe in. So it's not only, okay, I'm selling my profile to someone. I think it's super important to have this like alignment for the brand and to believe in the trust the products. But I believe it's a super effective way. In some of the clients that we help scale, they generated like 25 to 30% of the revenue with whitelisting.
Got it. Wow, that's a large percentage. And then in terms of the agreements that you usually do for whitelisting, is it always a percentage of spend, or is it just an access fee, or is it just pay for the content? What's the most common kind of structure? If a brand is looking to do this, like what's the most common structure, or what would you advise for a structure?
For the structure, I would say on the brand side, it makes sense to have like the monthly payment or something like that to have the access of the influencers. In many cases, it's not like that one influencer will work like for 6 months or something like that. So there's obviously is like a timeline that it might be like 2 months, 1 month, 3 months or something like that. So I think it's good to actually have this availability. But if you work with the bigger influencer, they often demand percentage of ad spend. So the percentage of ad spend might be between like 3 to 10%, something like that. Some of them want the revenue share deal, but I wouldn't aim for that if I was a business owner trying to negotiate the deal. But yeah, that's how it usually works for us.
Got it. Hey guys, we put a bunch of effort into making great content for this YouTube channel. So please hit subscribe, leave us a comment, hit like, and tell a few friends about it.